Ethan Mercer had never expected his first mission to another planet to feel so strange. The Lumari Palace of Valera stretched endlessly in every direction, with walls that shimmered like liquid metal and floors that seemed to glow from beneath. Even the air smelled different, carrying a faint tang of minerals and something sweet he couldn't name. Everywhere he looked, alien technology and art combined in ways that made his human mind real. He had been part of the United Earth Expedition Team, sent to observe and interact with the Lumari. Their species was known across nearby star systems for being advanced, cautious, and a little distant. For weeks, Ethan and his team had followed the strict rules laid out by the Lumari Council. No touching, no wandering, no unnecessary interaction, but tonight, something inside him whispered curiosity. The palace was quiet. Most of the Lumari guards and officials had retired to their quarters, and the corridors were bathed in soft, pulsing lights. Ethan found himself walking alone, guided more by intuition than purpose. He passed intricate tapestries that seemed to move when he looked at them, strange plants with translucent leaves, and sculptures that floated slightly above the floor. Every step made him feel like he was inside a dream. As he rounded a corner, he saw a door slightly ajar. Its frame was engraved with symbols he did not recognize. A soft golden light spilled through the gap. A small voice in his head said, "Don't go in." But another voice, louder and more persistent, whispered, "Just a peek won't hurt." Ethan hesitated, then pushed the door gently. The room inside was unlike anything he had ever seen. The walls glimmered with a metallic sheen that reflected the golden light, and delicate streams of holographic images floated in the air, showing scenes he didn't recognize. Alien furniture, elegant and flowing in shape, lined the room, and exotic plants filled corners with faint bioluminescent glows. But what stopped him in his tracks was the portrait. It hung prominently on the far wall, framed in a material that seemed to shimmer and shift color depending on how he looked at it. Ethan's eyes widened. It was him, painted in incredible detail. The portrait captured his face perfectly, even the small scar near his eyebrow, which he thought only a few people knew about. He could see himself wearing his Earth uniform, standing confidently, though he didn't remember posing for any picture like this. What is this?" he whispered, stepping closer. The painting seemed almost alive. The colors moved subtly, the light dancing across the surface as if the portrait itself was breathing. A soft sound behind him made him jump. The door slid open fully, and there she stood. Princess Lyra. Ethan froze. She was taller than he expected, elegant and graceful, with skin that shimmered faintly in the soft light. Her eyes were large, bright, and golden, and they seemed to pierce into his very thoughts. She did not look angry. She looked curious. "You are awake," she said softly, her voice musical yet firm. "I did not expect a human to enter here." Ethan swallowed hard. I'm sorry," he stammered. "I didn't know." Liara tilted her head slightly. "You did not know, yet you came in. That shows bravery, or carelessness. Which is it?" Ethan opened his mouth to answer, but realized that no words could properly explain his mistake. I didn't mean to. You just followed curiosity," she said with a small smile. "That is something I admire in your kind." He stared at her, unsure whether to feel relief or fear. Princess Liara stepped further into the room, her gaze flicking to the portrait. Ethan followed her eyes. "You see your picture," she said. "It is rare for my people to honor someone from another world in this way. Yet here you are. Strange, is it not?" "Honor me?" Ethan asked, disbelief clear in his voice. "I didn't do anything special, I was doing my job." Lyara's expression softened. "You are humble. That is another trait my people find unusual among humans. We have been observing you since your arrival. You saved lives on Valera without even realizing the consequences." Ethan frowned, trying to remember. "Saved lives? I don't think You do not remember," Liara interrupted gently. "Your team stabilized a failing energy core in the Lumari city of Thalira. Without intervention, a major section of the city would have collapsed. Your actions were clever, human, and courageous." It did not go unnoticed. Ethan's heart raced. He had only been following orders and responding to a technical problem. Yet somehow his ordinary actions had earned him this extraordinary recognition. He felt both embarrassed and amazed. I don't know what to say," he admitted. "You need say nothing," Liara replied. "It is why I honor your image. Not for what you think you have done, but for what you are capable of. Humans, You surprise us. Ethan glanced around the room again, taking in the alien beauty and the sense of quiet power in the air. I just walked in by mistake. I didn't expect to find all this. Or this, he said, pointing nervously at the portrait. Liara chuckled softly, a sound that reminded him of a gentle wind over water. Mistakes can sometimes lead to discovery. Perhaps your presence here tonight is not a mistake after all. Ethan felt a mix of awe and anxiety. He had read reports about humans meeting alien royalty, but he never imagined he would stand in the private quarters of a princess, being admired for actions he barely remembered. The princess gestured toward a low, glowing seat. Sit if you wish. You are not in danger. Curiosity is not punished here. Ethan sat carefully, his eyes never leaving Liara's face. He noticed the subtle way the room seemed to react to her presence. The holograms shimmered brighter. The plant's glows pulsed slightly faster. It was as if the room itself recognized her authority and presence. Why me? Ethan asked finally. There are so many humans here. Why single me out? Liara tilted her head. Because you acted without expectation of reward. You did what was right even when it was difficult. That is rare in humans or Lumari. You carry potential. And potential deserves recognition. Ethan swallowed. I never thought humans could be seen that way by another species. You are often underestimated, Liara said. But your species has qualities that even we cannot replicate. Creativity, ingenuity, courage, and in that, you inspire respect. Ethan felt a strange warmth in his chest. For the first time, he realized that humanity might not just be a fragile species in a vast universe. Humans could matter, even to others who were older, wiser, and more advanced. A soft chime echoed through the room. Liara glanced at a small device on her wrist. Time passes differently here, human. It is late, you should return to your quarters. But know this, your presence here is no accident. Perhaps we will speak again. Ethan stood slowly, unsure if he should bow or shake her hand. Liara's eyes held a faint smile, and he simply nodded. As he left the room, the door closing silently behind him, Ethan's mind raced. He had entered the wrong room by mistake, yet he had uncovered a recognition and respect from an alien princess that he could not have imagined in his wildest dreams. Outside the door, the palace corridor stretched endlessly again, calm and glowing, but now every shadow, every flicker of light seemed charged with possibility. He had stepped into a world that was bigger, stranger, and more incredible than he had ever known, and somehow humans were part of it. Ethan walked back to his quarters slowly. The portrait burned into his memory. He couldn't stop thinking about the princess, about her words, and about the quiet power in her gaze. He realized that this was only the beginning. Somehow he had stepped into a story far larger than himself. A story where humans could be more than just observers. The next morning, Ethan Mercer awoke to the soft hum of the Lumari Palace. The light filtering through the crystalline windows painted the walls in shades of gold and blue. Even after his encounter with Princess Liara the night before, the palace still felt vast and overwhelming. Every corridor seemed alive, every corner hiding mysteries he had yet to discover. Breakfast was a quiet affair. Ethan joined the rest of the human team in the dining hall, a grand space that floated above the palace grounds. Alien fruits with shimmering skins hovered slightly above the table, waiting for anyone to touch them. The humans picked them up cautiously, tasting flavors that were sweet, tangy, and completely unlike anything on Earth. Yet despite the novelty, Ethan's mind was elsewhere. He kept thinking about the portrait, about Princess Liara and her words. Humans inspire respect. The thought made him feel a mixture of pride and unease. How could his ordinary actions fixing a failing energy core be considered extraordinary? A soft chime interrupted his thoughts. A message appeared on the small device attached to his wrist. It was in the Lumari language, but the translation appeared instantly in English. Ethan Mercer, meet Princess Liara in the observation garden at sunrise. She wishes to speak. Ethan's heart skipped a beat. Sunrise was still hours away, but curiosity and a strange sense of purpose pulled him out of bed. Dressing quickly, he left his quarters and made his way to the observation garden, a place humans had not been allowed before. The garden was breathtaking. Towering crystalline plants reached toward the sky, their leaves refracting the morning light into thousands of colors. Streams of water hovered in midair, arcing gracefully between glowing rocks. Strange creatures, small and delicate, flitted through the air like living jewels. The scent was sweet and calming, unlike anything on Earth. And there at the center stood Princess Liara. Her golden eyes reflected the rising sun, and her posture was elegant, regal, yet relaxed. She looked at Ethan and inclined her head slightly in greeting. "Good morning, Ethan," she said softly. "Thank you for coming." "Good morning, Princess," he replied, bowing slightly. "I wasn't sure I would be allowed here," Liara smiled. "Curiosity is allowed here, human. It is how we learn about each other." Ethan's curiosity burned. "I still don't understand. Why was my portrait in your room? Why did you honor me?" Liara's expression became thoughtful. "There are things about my people and our traditions that humans do not yet understand. We value not only actions but intent. Sometimes those who act without thinking of reward are worthy of recognition." "You fit that pattern," Ethan frowned. "I didn't even know I was doing anything special." "I was just following my orders," Liara nodded. "Exactly. That is why it is remarkable. Many humans act with careful calculation. You acted instinctively and your instincts were noble. You helped save lives without realizing it. That is the essence of what we honor." He blinked, still trying to process her words. "So, the portrait, it's a sign of respect?" "Yes," Liara replied. "But it is also more than that. It is a recognition of potential. My people watch closely those who could help shape the future of Valeera. Humans have qualities that we admire and wish to understand better." Ethan felt a mixture of pride and disbelief. "I never thought humans could be admired like this by another species." Liara's eyes sparkled. "You underestimate yourselves. Humans have ingenuity, creativity, and courage, traits even the most advanced of my people do not always possess. That is why you caught my attention." Ethan felt a strange warmth in his chest. No one had ever spoken to him this way before, not even his superiors on Earth. He realized that this planet, this encounter, could change not only his understanding of the universe but also his sense of what humanity could achieve. "Princess," he said carefully, "you said you've been observing us. Why me? Why not someone else?" Liara's gaze softened. "Because you act with heart, Ethan. Your choices show a respect for life and for others. That is rare, and that is why humans and you are of interest to my people. We have watched your species for some time, and your kind surprises us constantly. It is time we understand humans more closely." Ethan nodded slowly, realizing the gravity of her words. Humans were not just visitors here. They were potential partners in a complex world far beyond Earth's reach. Liara gestured toward a small, hovering platform in the center of the garden. "Come," she said. "There is something I want to show you." Ethan followed, curious. As they reached the platform, Liara extended her hand. A holographic map projected into the air between them, showing the city of Thalaira, the location of the energy core he had fixed the previous week. Streams of light traced the flow of energy through the city, highlighting the points of danger and showing how Ethan's team had prevented a disaster. "You see," Liara said, pointing at the map, "your actions stabilized the energy core. The city could have suffered severe damage and many lives might have been lost. Your team's human ingenuity made the difference." Ethan stared at the map, feeling a mix of pride and humility. He had been so focused on completing his mission that he hadn't considered the larger impact. Now, seeing it visually represented, he understood just how important their work had been. "But how? How did you know it was me?" he asked. Liara smiled faintly. "The Lumari have methods of observation beyond what humans perceive. We noticed your decisions, your teamwork, and your courage. You impressed not only me but my council. The portrait is a personal acknowledgement, a reminder that one individual acting with integrity can influence many." Ethan felt a lump in his throat. He had never expected to be honored in such a way by an alien princess. I don't know what to say." "Say nothing," Liara replied. "Actions speak louder than words. What you do next will matter more than what you say now. That is the truth of humans and Lumari alike." For a moment they stood in silence, watching the holographic city. Ethan could feel the weight of responsibility settling on his shoulders, but also a strange sense of purpose. He realized that humans were not just small players in a vast universe. They could be influential, capable, and respected. Then Liara's expression changed. becoming serious. There is another matter, Ethan, something I must tell you. While humans have acted wisely, there are forces here that do not welcome your kind. Not all Lumari agree with the Council's openness to humans. Some factions remain suspicious, even hostile. Ethan's heart quickened. Hostile to us? Yes, Liara said. They fear change. They fear outsiders. While your presence has brought hope to many, it has also stirred old rivalries. You must be careful. Your actions are watched not only by those who admire you, but also by those who wish to challenge you. Ethan swallowed hard. He had come to Valera to observe, not to become part of a political struggle. Yet he realized that simply being human on this planet had consequences far beyond his expectations. Liara's eyes softened again. Do not be afraid, Ethan, you're not alone. My people who honor you will protect you, and She paused, her gaze lingering on him. I will watch closely. Humans have potential, and potential must be guided carefully. The morning sun rose higher, casting golden rays across the garden. Ethan felt a sense of awe, not just at the beauty of the place, but at the realization of his own significance. He had entered this world by accident, yet now he was part of something far greater than himself. You have much to learn, Liara said, her tone both gentle and firm, and much to teach. Humans have gifts, and your kind must understand how to use them wisely. That is why your portrait hangs in my private room. It is not just recognition, it is a promise. A reminder that humans can matter even among the stars. Ethan nodded slowly, understanding the depth of her words. He felt a surge of determination. He would not let this honor go to waste. Humans had a chance to prove themselves, and he would be at the forefront. As he left the observation garden, the holographic city fading behind him, Ethan felt a sense of purpose unlike anything he had ever known. He had stumbled into an alien world by accident, yet now he was a bridge between humans and Lumari. For the first time, he truly understood what it meant to be seen, not just as The next day, the palace of Valera was alive with activity. Lumari officials moved gracefully along the corridors, their glowing forms reflecting in the metallic walls. The humans, including Ethan Mercer, observed silently, careful not to draw attention. Yet despite the palace's beauty and apparent calm, a sense of unease lingered in Ethan's mind. He had spent the night thinking about Princess Liara's warning. Not all Lumari were welcoming of humans. Some factions, she had said, were suspicious or even hostile. He had hoped the warning was just precautionary. But as he walked toward the research wing, something felt off. A sharp alarm echoed through the palace halls, unusual and urgent. Red lights flashed, bathing the walls in a stark glow. Humans and Lumari alike stopped in their tracks. Guards drew sleek energy weapons, and messages appeared on their wrist devices in rapid flashes. What is happening? Ethan asked a nearby Lumari officer, his voice tense. An intruder, the officer replied. A faction long exiled from Valera has breached the palace. They aim for the princess. Evacuate non-essential personnel immediately. Ethan's heart pounded. He had known danger existed, but he had never expected it to arrive so suddenly. So close. Princess Liara's words from the previous day replayed in his mind. You are not alone, but you must be careful. As he turned toward the observation garden, he saw her standing at the far end, her golden eyes focused and calm despite the chaos. Guards surrounded her, but she was alone enough that anyone approaching with ill intent could pose a serious threat. Without thinking, Ethan ran. Humans had instincts he had relied on countless times in emergencies, and now, even in an alien world, they guided him. He had no plan, only the determination to help. Princess, he shouted as he reached the edge of the garden. Liara's gaze met his. She did not show surprise. Instead, a faint smile appeared. I was expecting you, Ethan. There is no time to explain. We must move. Ethan glanced around. The garden had hidden pathways he had not noticed the day before. Small tunnels that twisted between hovering rocks and crystalline plants. Liara led him to one, and he followed closely. Her movements were precise and confident, a clear indication that she knew the palace better than anyone else. As they navigated the hidden passage, Ethan realized that the palace itself seemed alive with magic and technology combined. Tiny lights guided them, responding to Liara's presence. The walls were lined with glyphs that pulsed faintly, as if aware of the intruder's movement. They emerged into a vast hall, the central chamber of the palace. The intruders were already inside, humanoid in shape but clearly not Lumari. Their skin was darker, with faint markings that glowed red, and their eyes had a sharp, calculating look. They moved in coordinated silence, clearly trained for infiltration. Ethan froze for a moment, unsure what to do. He was just a human, far from home, facing beings more advanced and hostile than anything he had imagined. But then he remembered Liara's words about humans: ingenuity, courage, adaptability. He might be the key to saving the princess. "Follow me," Liara said calmly. "We must reach the council wing. There are defenses you will help us activate." Ethan nodded. He had no choice but to trust her and trust himself. They moved quickly through the palace corridors, dodging patrols and evading detection. Ethan was amazed at how naturally he adapted to the alien environment. He noticed subtle patterns in the intruders' movements, small weaknesses in their approach. Things a Lumari might overlook but a human could see. At a junction, Liara stopped and turned to him. "Here," she said, pointing to a console embedded in the wall. "Humans excel at problem-solving in moments of crisis. Activate this system. It will create a distraction and allow us to reach the princess's chamber safely." Ethan studied the alien interface. It was complex, filled with symbols and floating controls. At first he hesitated, unsure what to touch. Then he remembered his work with the energy core in Thalira. Step by step he pressed, swiped, and manipulated the controls based on patterns he could recognize. The interface responded instantly, lights shifting and systems activating. A deep hum filled the hall as doors slammed shut behind them, trapping the intruders in separate sections. Holographic barriers sprang into place, confusing and blocking the intruders' movements. Ethan and Liara pressed forward, moving with renewed confidence. The intruders were clever, adjusting quickly, but Ethan's improvisation gave them the edge. By the time the guards arrived to support the princess, the invaders were contained, unable to proceed. Liara looked at Ethan with a mixture of admiration and respect. "Your actions have saved many," she said. "Even my people could not have done this so swiftly without your instincts." Ethan felt a swell of pride, but he also realized the stakes were higher than ever. He was no longer just a visitor or observer. Humans could make a real difference here, and he had proven that even in an alien world their instincts and creativity mattered. The intruders were subdued, but the palace bore marks of the conflict. Walls were scorched, floors cracked, and some of the delicate plants had been damaged. Yet the greatest damage was avoided, thanks to Ethan's quick thinking and Liara's knowledge. The princess led him to a secure chamber, where the council would meet to assess the situation. As they walked, she explained the factions that opposed humans. These exiles believe the Lumari must remain pure, untouched by outsiders. They see humans as a threat to tradition, but their fear is based on misunderstanding. It is up to us to show them that cooperation is stronger than conflict. Ethan nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. He had come to this planet thinking his role was minor, merely an observer. Now he understood that humans could influence events, protect lives, and even help bridge the gap between species. In the council chamber, Liara introduced Ethan formally. "This human," she said, her voice echoing in the hall, "has shown courage, ingenuity, and quick thinking. He is a friend to Valera, and an example of what humans can achieve." The council members, tall and imposing with their glowing forms, regarded him with a mixture of curiosity and respect. Some whispered among themselves, clearly impressed by his actions. Ethan realized that this was more than recognition. It was acceptance. Humans had earned a place of respect in Lumari society. Liara continued, "We face challenges and outsiders will test us, but humans like this one remind us that courage and creativity can overcome fear and hostility. Let this be a new chapter in our relations." Ethan felt a mix of pride and humility. He was just one person, yet his actions had made a difference. He had proven that humans, even in a world far beyond Earth, could be capable, courageous, and indispensable. After the council meeting, Liara spoke to him privately. "You did more than save me," she said softly. "You reminded my people that the universe is bigger than fear, bigger than old grudges. Your species has potential we must understand and respect." Ethan looked at her surprised. "You really believe that humans can matter here?" Liara smiled, her golden eyes reflecting the fading light. "We already see it. What you do next will shape the way humans are seen for generations to come. That is the power of courage, human ingenuity, and heart. For the first time, Ethan understood the full weight of his presence on Valira. He was no longer just an explorer or observer. He was a symbol of human potential, a bridge between worlds, and a reminder that even ordinary actions could have extraordinary consequences. As he left the council chamber, the palace felt different. The corridors seemed brighter, the light warmer. He walked with a newfound confidence, knowing that humans had a place here and that his instincts, his courage, and his quick thinking could truly make a difference. Yet, despite the victory, Ethan knew that challenges were far from over. The hostile faction was contained, but their anger and fear would not vanish overnight. Humans would have to continue proving themselves, step by step, choice by choice, and Ethan Mercer, the human who had accidentally entered a princess's room, had become the first of many to show that humans could rise to challenges, adapt to alien worlds, and inspire respect across the stars. The palace of Valira was quiet again, but the echoes of the previous day's attack still lingered. Ethan Mercer walked carefully through the corridors, his mind racing. The hostile faction had been contained, but their presence reminded him that the peace of this world was fragile. Every corner of the palace seemed alive, every shimmer of light hinting at secrets he had yet to uncover. Princess Liara met him in a small chamber that overlooked the city of Thalira. The morning sun reflected off the crystalline buildings below, casting rainbows across the streets. Despite the calm outside, Liara's expression was serious. "Ethan," she began, "what you did yesterday was remarkable. You think quickly, adapt, and find solutions even in situations unfamiliar to you. Humans are unpredictable in the best way." Ethan rubbed the back of his neck. "I just reacted. I don't know if it was clever or lucky." Liara shook her head. "It was more than luck. Your thought process is different from ours, and that difference gives you strength. That is why I brought you here today." Curious, Ethan followed her down a hallway lined with glowing glyphs that pulsed faintly with each step. They stopped in front of a door etched with complex symbols. Liara pressed her hand against it, and the door slid open silently, revealing a chamber filled with strange floating devices and intricate mechanisms. "This," Liara said, gesturing to the room, "is part of the palace's defense system. Even some of my people do not fully understand it, but I believe your mind, human logic, can help us activate it to its full potential." Ethan stepped inside cautiously, marveling at the alien technology. The devices floated in mid-air, glowing with soft light, and intricate patterns moved across the surfaces as though alive. He realized that the system was designed for efficiency and precision, yet it required flexibility, creativity, and problem-solving, qualities humans had in abundance. Liara explained the plan. The intruders attempted to exploit weaknesses in the palace defenses. There may be more attempts. We must prepare. You will help us create a system that adapts in real time, using strategies humans might find instinctively. Ethan nodded, feeling both nervous and excited. He had never worked on alien technology at this level, but he understood patterns, logic, and problem-solving. He approached the first floating panel and studied it carefully. The interface responded to his touch, shifting and rearranging the symbols into sequences he could interpret. He realized that the system allowed for combinations and improvisation. If he thought creatively, he could enhance the defenses far beyond what the Lumari had planned. "Try this," Liara suggested. "Combine the adaptive barrier with the energy pulse sequences. Humans might see connections we overlook." Ethan hesitated for a moment, then activated a sequence. Lights pulsed across the room, devices rotated smoothly in synchronization, and a holographic shield expanded around the palace in a shimmering dome. The energy flowed through channels he hadn't even known existed, forming a network that adapted to movement and threat patterns. Liara watched closely, her golden eyes bright with admiration. "Impressive. Even my people have not anticipated these connections. You think differently, and that difference makes us stronger." Ethan smiled faintly. I guess humans just look at problems differently." "Exactly," Liara said. "And that perspective is invaluable." They worked together for hours, Ethan guiding the logic and improvisation while Liara provided knowledge of the palace's hidden systems. The final result was a network of adaptive defenses that could respond instantly to intruders, redirect energy flows, and even trap enemies without harming innocent bystanders. "You have created something extraordinary," Liara said, her voice filled with awe. "This will protect not only me but all who live in Velyra." And it was done with human ingenuity. Ethan felt a swell of pride. He had never imagined that his ideas, his instincts, and his problem-solving could have such a profound impact. On Earth, humans often felt small and insignificant compared to the vast universe. Here, he realized, they could make a real difference. Liara led him to the observation garden, where the holographic city of Velyra appeared once again. "Look at your work in action," she said. "Even from here, you can see the energy flow stabilize. Any attempt to breach the palace now will be met with adaptive resistance. Your species has made a mark on Velyra that will last for generations." Ethan stared at the holographic city, amazed. His actions had changed the landscape of an alien world. Humans, he realized, were not just observers. They were capable of shaping the future in ways others could not predict. Suddenly, a message appeared on Liara's wrist device. She glanced at it and frowned. "There are still pockets of resistance," she said. "Some Lumari factions remain suspicious of humans. Your work will earn respect, but it will also challenge old fears. Be prepared." Ethan nodded, accepting the responsibility. Humans had earned trust, but trust was fragile. They would have to continue proving themselves through courage, intelligence, and integrity. Liara's tone softened. "Ethan, I want you to understand something. Humans are more than capable of greatness. Your actions yesterday, today, they are proof. You inspire others, both Lumari and human. That is a gift you carry." Ethan felt a strange warmth in his chest. No one had ever spoken to him like this before. Not on Earth, not in his training, not even in his wildest dreams. The princess's words made him realize that humanity had potential far beyond what he had imagined. They spent the rest of the day refining the palace defenses. Ethan noticed things the Lumari did not. Patterns in energy flow, small inconsistencies in barrier responses, and areas where flexibility was needed. Every adjustment he made improved the system, and Liara praised his instincts at every step. By evening, the palace was fully prepared. The adaptive defenses could respond instantly to threats, predict intruder movements, and protect the inhabitants with minimal risk. Ethan had helped create something no one else could have done. Liara stood beside him in the observation garden, watching the city glow under the setting sun. "You have done more than I could have imagined," she said softly. "Even the council is impressed. Humans are remarkable." Ethan smiled, feeling a mix of pride and humility. "I only did what came naturally. I just tried to think clearly and act quickly." "That is the essence of human ingenuity," Liara replied. "You act, adapt, and overcome. That is why humans inspire respect. That is why your portrait hangs in my room. You are a symbol, not just of one human, but of all your species." For the first time, Ethan truly understood what it meant to be seen, not as a visitor, not as an observer, but as someone capable of making a difference. He had walked into an alien world by accident, yet he had proven that humans could rise to challenges, think creatively, and inspire admiration even among the most advanced beings in the galaxy. As the stars began to appear in the Velyran sky, Ethan and Liara stood together looking over the city. The palace was safe, the threat neutralized, and the future seemed full of possibilities. Yet he knew that challenges would continue to come, and humans would have to keep proving themselves. But for the first time, Ethan felt confident. He had seen what humans could achieve even far from Earth. They could adapt, create, and protect. They could matter, and with that knowledge he felt ready for anything. Liara turned to him with a small, genuine smile. "Tomorrow brings new challenges, Ethan. But know this. With humans like you, Velyra is stronger and the universe is brighter." Ethan nodded, a feeling of purpose settling over him. He had entered this world by accident, but now he understood that humans had a place here, a chance to shine, to inspire. The palace of Velyra was calm, but a sense of anticipation lingered in the air. The attacks had been contained, and the palace defenses, enhanced through Ethan Mercer's ingenuity, were fully operational. Yet, the challenges of the day weighed heavily on the minds of the council and the royal family. Humans had proven themselves capable, but trust, as Liara had said, was something that had to be earned continuously. Ethan stood in the observation garden, the golden sun casting long shadows across the crystalline structures below. The city of Thalira glittered like a jewel, its streets calm and alive once more. Even from this distance he could sense the energy flowing through the city, the stabilizing effect of his work and the Lumari's own care for their home. Liara approached him silently, her golden eyes reflecting the light. She did not speak immediately, allowing the quiet to stretch between them. Finally, she said, "Ethan, today we take the next step, not just for you, but for your people. Humans have proven themselves worthy of recognition, but we must formalize it." Ethan turned to her, curiosity and anticipation evident in his face. "Formalize it?" he asked. "Yes," Liara said, her voice calm yet firm. "The council has agreed to a ceremony. Your actions, and the potential of your species, will be officially recognized. Humans will be granted a position in interstellar diplomacy with Valera. Your presence here is no longer accidental. You are now part of something greater." Ethan's heart raced. He had never imagined that humans could achieve such a standing with an alien civilization. He felt pride, awe, and a deep sense of responsibility all at once. The ceremony took place in the Hall of Honors, a grand chamber he had only glimpsed before. Its ceilings arched high, reflecting light from crystalline chandeliers that pulsed like living stars. Holographic images of Valera's history adorned the walls, showing past heroes, great explorers, and moments that shaped the Lumari civilization. At the center of the hall stood a dais, and on it Liara placed Ethan's portrait. It was larger than the one he had seen in her private chamber, glowing softly as if alive. The room was silent as the council members, tall and glowing in their own right, observed him. Liara spoke first. "Today we honor a human not only for his actions but for what he represents. Courage, ingenuity, adaptability. These are traits we admire in humans, and they are traits that remind us of the strength of cooperation." Ethan stepped forward, feeling the weight of the moment. He could see the faces of Lumari council members, their expressions a mix of respect and curiosity. He realized that his species was no longer seen as outsiders. Humans were now partners, capable of influencing the future of this world. "You honor me too much," Ethan said humbly. "I only did what I could in the moment. Any human would have acted the same." Liara shook her head. "No human has acted like this before. You are unique, and your actions demonstrate what humans can achieve. You are a symbol, not only of your species' potential, but also of hope." The council nodded in agreement, their glowing forms shimmering with approval. Whispers of admiration passed through the room, acknowledging Ethan's ingenuity and courage. He felt a warmth of pride unlike anything he had known. After the ceremony, Liara led him back to the observation garden. The city below was calm, yet he knew the challenges would continue. Hostile factions might still exist, and humans would have to prove themselves in other ways. "You did more than create defenses," Liara said. "You reminded my people that humans are capable of greatness. That reminder is more powerful than any weapon." Ethan smiled faintly. "I guess humans really can matter, even far from Earth." "Yes," Liara said softly, "and your example will guide others. Humans have qualities that inspire trust and respect. That is something few species can achieve so quickly. You have done more than act. You have shaped the perception of your entire species here." Ethan looked at the city below, imagining the future. He could see humans and Lumari working together, sharing knowledge, exploring new worlds, and facing challenges side by side. It was a future that felt possible now, a future where humans were not just observers but contributors, leaders, and allies. Liara gestured to a balcony that overlooked the palace grounds. "Come, Ethan. There is one more thing I want to show you." He followed her, and they reached a section of the balcony that extended over the city. Below, humans and Lumari moved together in coordination, inspecting the palace's newly fortified defenses. Their interactions were calm and cooperative, a testament to the trust that had been built. "You see this?" Liara said, her voice calm but proud. "This is the beginning of a true partnership. Humans will continue to help, to innovate, to protect, and we will learn from them as much as they learn from us." Ethan nodded, understanding the significance. He had entered this world by accident, but now he realized that humans could make a lasting difference. Their creativity, courage, and adaptability were not just survival traits. They were traits that could shape civilizations. A soft breeze carried the scent of Valira's floating plants, and Ethan felt a sense of peace. He had come here as an explorer, uncertain and cautious. Now he stood as a representative of humanity, recognized and respected by one of the most advanced civilizations he had ever encountered. Liara watched him, her golden eyes warm. "Ethan, your portrait is more than an honor. It is a promise that humans and Lumari will work together, that we will face challenges side by side, and that your species will be remembered here for generations." Ethan felt a lump in his throat. "I never imagined humans could have such a place in the galaxy." "They do," Liara said firmly, "because of what you have shown. Courage, wisdom, and ingenuity, these are universal traits, and humans possess them in abundance." Ethan looked at the city, imagining the possibilities. Humans could explore, learn, and build. They could be allies, protectors, and innovators. He realized that the universe was far larger than he had imagined, but humans had the power to matter within it. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the city. Lights began to glow softly in Thalira, reflecting off crystalline towers and floating bridges. Ethan felt a sense of awe, a recognition of the beauty and complexity of this world. Liara stood beside him, silent for a moment. Then she said, "The future is bright, Ethan, and humans are part of it, not because of strength alone, but because of heart, intelligence, and courage. That is why we honor you and why we welcome your people." Ethan nodded, feeling a profound sense of purpose. He had entered the palace by mistake, but he had become part of a story much larger than himself. Humans had earned respect, recognition, and a place in the galaxy. "You've shown us what humans can do," Liara continued. "And now it is up to you and others like you to continue proving it. Your species has potential. Your species has hope. And that hope will shape the future." Ethan felt a surge of determination. He would not let this trust go to waste. Humans could rise to challenges, adapt to new worlds, and inspire admiration and respect. He would ensure that Earth's people were seen not just as visitors, but as partners, capable of shaping interstellar history. As night fell over Valira, Ethan looked at the stars above, countless points of light stretching across the sky. For the first time, he truly understood that humans were part of something greater, something eternal, a species capable of greatness, courage, and influence far beyond the confines of their home planet. Liara watched him, a small smile playing on her lips. "Tomorrow brings new challenges," she said softly. "But with humans like you, Valira is safer, stronger, and wiser, and the universe is brighter." Ethan nodded, the weight of responsibility balanced by a newfound confidence. He had entered the wrong room by accident, but that mistake had led to recognition, respect, and a chance to prove humanity's worth. And as he gazed at the city, the stars, and the endless possibilities ahead, he knew one thing with certainty: humans could rise to greatness. Humans could inspire, protect, and shape the future. And in that moment, Ethan Mercer understood that the portrait on Liara's wall was more than honor. It was a symbol of humanity's potential, a promise of what was possible when courage, ingenuity,